Right. Nice to see you, Vicky. How was your holiday?
Oh my gosh. Well, I am back after 10 days in Michigan, seeing my grandchildren and going from where I am now in Arizona to Michigan. I went from 7,000 feet to 0 feet. Breathing was a piece of cake. So it's one of those things you just take for granted in your own environment. But when I got there, it was really, really cold. But I was able to go out on my daily walks, take my grandkids and walk the dogs. And it was so much fun. Um, and my grandson always, who calls me Nana, he always had a stick for me. He goes, Nana, use the stick. Don't walk too fast. Um, so that was just a lovely part of it. And I've got to say, all my grandkids walk around with their mouths closed and they're breathing through their nose. So that was my little win. I just had a lovely time. But yeah,
Oh,
saved all my energy up for a nice vacation.
yeah, it sounds amazing. And you know what? They're breathing just like their nana.
Yeah.
Isn't that awesome?
Yeah. Anyway, how was your trip?
Yeah, so my trip was great. It almost got really derailed because I was ill the week before. So my lovely partner very, very kindly gifted me a cold. Um, it was very, very kind of him. So I sort of went into preservation mode where I thought I want to get over this as quickly as possible so I can actually get away and enjoy my holiday next week. So that was a good lesson of what has to be done and what doesn't have to be done. So I thought, well, I had really big plans for this week. I wanted to go and do this and that hill and that cycle. And I thought, well, I've just been ill. So I took the van out to the Western Isles. And for those of you who don't know Scotland, the Western Isles are the Outer Hebrides. So they're off the northwest coast of Scotland. And they are just absolutely beautiful, but they're also quite brutal in February, as it turns out. But it was just perfect. It was exactly where I needed to be. I did some walking, I did some hiking, I did some cycling, but it was kind of gentle. And I spent a lot of time walking on beaches, a lot of time paddling in the sea. I
Mm.
learned that breathing was really key to avoiding seasickness, because I was on two extremely bouncy ferries, the sort of ferries where, it's kind of going like that. So my breathing really helped me there, because even the staff were feeling a bit queasy and I was great. So that was amazing. And yeah, I just feel incredibly refreshed and grateful for such a beautiful place and how the weather was good. And, that I was able to listen to my body and, learn some of those lessons that I hadn't 6 years ago. And, it was exactly where I needed to be. So it was wonderful.
That your ferry thing just reminds me of my couple of flights up there where, as my husband says, it's just angry air. And I'm like, there's nothing angry about this air. We're bouncing around. But like you, it was like, okay, I can sit here and breathe through this. Whereas before it would have been white knuckled. Um, so I think, another thing that we've learned from what the breath does.
Yeah. So you had angry air and I had angry water.
I don't see.
It was quite angry. It was definitely angry, but it got me there.
Anyway, we both came back. We're refreshed and
Yeah,
we are ready to go again.
we are. We
Yeah.
are absolutely. I feel, yes, absolutely ready to go. Yeah.